let's see. Allison.
She's here, she's like here.
Okay, and Shulamit. Andrea. Andrea. And Ariella. Your name is?
Petra. Petra.
Your first name?
No.
First
Wait,
name?
my first name is Petra.
Petra is your first name and last name?
No, my last name is Nagy. Nagy. But I was here before.
I know, but I don't have you on my list. So for some reason, okay. And let's see again, your name, I have to refresh myself. Your name is?
I'm Hannah.
Hannah.
I have a really long story.
Hannah, that's,
She's still with Hannah.
the last name?
R-A-D.
R-A-D.
O-V-A.
O-V-A.
N-O-V-A.
Okay, how do you pronounce it?
In my language or Nava? Forget it.
So, what was outstanding about spending Tishrei? Spending the month here? What was outstanding that stands in your mind?
What?
You were here for a month in Crown Heights. What was outstanding for the holidays in your mind that was the most memorable that you are going away with? Yes.
The whole holidays.
Okay. Was it over?
I've never lived it like.
Was it overwhelming, or you were able to adjust?
A little bit. Sometimes, not all the time.
Okay. How about you?
My most memorable event was Simple Space, of course, because that was a very unique experience. I would not say it was overwhelming at all. Like, it was different, but like, it was cool. You know?
Okay.
It was really nice. My favorite part was Simcha's Race too, when we woke up in the middle of the night and we went to dance, and then we had so much energy and it like filled us up for the next day and I feel like for the next year or so.
And my last class, I made that suggestion about Simcha's Base. That would be the most energetic.
And we went every year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was
Yeah, we took
okay.
care of that.
Okay, now let's go to page 81 in our book.
Oh, you brought props.
What is the difference between these two flowers? Okay. Originally, when it was still in full bloom, what was the difference between the two?
That the one has layers like on top of each other.
Okay.
And the other has
And what else is different between the two?
No, that one's a bit red.
No, besides, when it was first cut, I would say,
Oh,
you know, when this was still fresh, what would be the difference between these two flowers? From the time it was cut, there was a difference between this and this.
That's one and the other is.
Okay, no, we speak about the essential. Now, this one starts off as a bulb,
oh.
and then when you put it in water, it will still develop and open up.
Oh.
This one, the way it was cut, that's the way it stays. So putting it into water or moving it is not going to change this, but this might change, because if it gets more water on it, it will develop faster. So having these now, starting off, let's start off with to begin with, is this muktzah on Shabbos. So this was cut, it's a bouquet of flowers, it is special for flowers. Is it muktzah? Are you allowed to handle this on Shabbos?
No.
Why not? How is it different than, let's hear.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe you'll like by accident cause it to grow.
Okay, so right now I'm speaking about it's not in water. Someone brought you a bouquet Friday, late afternoon. No, there was no time to put it into water before Shabbos. Can this be handled?
Well, if
Could
you
you-
put
could you
the
pick it
other
up?
flower, if
Hmm?
I understood correctly, then
What?
it doesn't grow, right?
What?
If you put the other one, like another rose,
This is the,
in the water, it doesn't
yeah,
grow.
but right now we're speaking about now, you have a bouquet of flowers. It's put on the table, it's ready Shabbos after lighting of candles. Are you allowed to pick up, not the water or not, we're just speaking about now, just what's the status of this? So since it is there to beautify the house, it's considered an object that is movable. So you are permitted not to take this bouquet of flower and put it elsewhere other than the table. Now, can you put it in water on Shabbos?
No.
You cannot put it into water the first time on Shabbos. It cannot be
Before
done.
Shabbos?
Before Shabbos, you put it in water. On Shabbos itself, you cannot put it into water the first time. That cannot be done. Now, what could you do with this if you did not put it into water before Shabbos? Could you preserve it by putting it into the refrigerator to keep it fresh until after Shabbos? Is there a problem with that? Any problem with that? Huh?
I guess not.
No, just say that you put it in your strawberry or fruits and vegetables, whatever you want to put in the refrigerator to keep them fresh.
And that
Your
works.
lettuce, yeah, that's what they do in the flower stores. They have they have a refrigerator, and some of them are kept in refrigeration, and they should be put in place in water. So we have now this bouquet. It's not muktzah. If you want to leave it this way, you leave it this way. If you want to put it in the refrigerator, you can put it in the refrigerator. You are permitted to handle it. You do not put it into a vase. Now, you did get this on Friday afternoon. You did put it into the vase with water. Now you have a vase with water that's standing on your table. And across you is someone who you want to speak to. So you would like to move the vase away. Is there any issue with moving the vase with the flowers inside the vase?
I don't think so.
So here we have the two kinds of flowers. These that are not going to change at all, and you don't have to be concerned at all. So the vase is not muktzah, the flowers are not muktzah. You're allowed to move it wherever you want. You don't have to pay attention as you're moving your vase. So you just take it wherever you want, that's fine. The ones that have the flowers that open up, you have the azaleas, you have the other types of flowers that do have buds, they do open up. So those who say that, again, it's not muktzah, but when you are moving it, move it carefully, not to change the water level. Keep it even. You don't want to, so when this one, you can pick it up, and it's going to shake up and down in there with vase. You're not concerned about it. You can take it as you wish, you're not going to pay attention. To this one, there is a suggestion that you do pay attention as you are moving it, not to make the water level go up, down, to keep it steady. So then the best way would be, I guess, to move it along the table as you're going and to keep it even. That's the suggestion. Others say that once it's cut, it's not going to really make a change, but since it does look like it's growing because it does open up as it's in water, it looks like it's growing. So therefore be careful about that and only move it very carefully, not to change the water level.
How can you tell which flowers?
Oh, you could, I mean, those who know flowers could tell if they open up or not. You could see when they are, you could start off as buds, to close it completely, and then as you keep them in water, because someone who has flowers in their home, they get to know, you have the azaleas, they're all closed, and as you keep them in water, they open up.
Mhm.
And these will never change. Daisies, they have different flowers that just, carnations also don't change. They just wilt, but they don't change. Okay, so so this is with our on page 81. This is what we have. You not be placed in water on Shabbos. It's permissible to move a vase with flowers on Shabbos. Now we have another issue, and that is you have flower pots on the windowsill. Anyone have that? Flower pots? Growing flowers, plants, whatever you have. No, yep, you have plants. Okay. So some people have indoor plants. They keep them on the windowsill. Why do you keep them on the windowsill? Because why there? Huh? Nice. And what else? Is there another reason why?
Sunlight.
Okay, you want the sunlight, and you also want to have ventilation. You open up the window. So if your intention is, so now we have the windowsill. It's on the windowsill. The line is down. Okay. Now, do I have here my flower pot? Can I open and the sun is shining? Can I open the?
Like,
It could.
it depends on your intention.
Here we go, very good, very good. That is where your intention is. Again, with Shabbos, intention plays a very big role. If your intention is that you do want your plants to get sunlight, you do want your plants to get some air, so then that would be forbidden. If, however, you're not interested in having now sunlight for your plants, they'll do well without the sunlight, but you do want to have some sunlight in the room, so then you are permitted to open your, so that would be called incidental. It's something not that happens immediately as soon as the sunlight hits it, it doesn't start growing and blossoming and everything else. It's a long process. It's not the same that it's happening immediately. It's not the same as opening up a refrigerator door when there's a light inside. But even though your intention is not to open up the light, but you know that that's going to be an immediate result. Here, however, it's not an immediate result. As soon as you open the window, it doesn't start growing and blossoming, it's like that. So your intention is not the plants. If your intention is in any way the plants, don't do it. If your intention is not the plants, then you are permitted to open this, and I guess after class we'll put it back. Now, so that would be the development. Now we have on page 82. Now we said one of the malacha, this malacha is in planting, and we said told us the Torah prohibition is also promoting growth. Putting a seed in the ground is planting, putting a plant in the ground, putting saplings in the ground. But now we also have watering is also promoting growth. So now let's have a situation where you are not intending to water, but that's what you're doing. In other words, you have a garden and you want to wash your hands over the plants. Are you allowed to do so?
No.
Because you are watering the plant. And that's something that even though your intention is not to water them, but they are, watering immediately promotes growth. That's something that's immediate. It's not the same as opening a window shade and having the sunlight on it. But this is an immediate result. So washing your hands over in the garden, so that itself is knowledgeable that you are going to water the grass. Now, if because of that, we say also one should be careful if they're eating outdoors. If you're drinking liquids, be careful with the liquids, because we don't want to spill the liquids and then have that on the grass. Same thing is also, we spoke about, when eating outdoors and you're eating something that has seeds, be careful about not throwing the seeds on the ground. I don't know if I mentioned it, that at one point, you go outside and I see outside a little watermelon growing. It wasn't planted, but obviously someone was eating watermelon, the seed fell down, not on Shabbos, I'm sure, but someone did eat watermelon outside, and it did grow a watermelon, it did grow up to about this size. Wow. So this is something that I had that experience, that having eating outdoors, you do get from time to time something that's going to grow, unless it's an area that everyone's constantly walking there. If it's a path where people are walking, nothing is going to grow because it's being prevented from growing by the fact that people are constantly walking there. But generally in a garden, things do, you could have a seed falling down and then promoting growth. So you're not allowed to, you have to be careful when eating outdoors, both with the liquids and also with things that have seeds that contain food. Now, you do have in some of the upstate where you have the bungalow colonies, that sort. So they do have the sink is attached to a hose, and there is no facilities that are able to, pipes that actually have, that go to cisterns or things of that sort, cesspools, but they just go straight directly onto the earth. So again, they have to make special provisions for Shabbos. If they know that they open the sink and there's a hose attached to the bottom of the sink where the water is going to go out, and it goes along the hose and it goes, 200 feet away from the bungalow, and the water is going to pour there. You have to be careful. And again, know if it's Shabbos permissible or not. You would have to have that checked to begin with, just to be aware of such a situation. Now we have this year, there was minimal rain on Sukkot. Did it rain at all on Sukkot?
I
No.
don't think so.
Okay, other years, we have Sukkot that have these canopies on top of the schach, or they have a tarp on top of the schach. And when it rains, they will open it, close it, and after the rain, they'll fold it back and then have the schach exposed to the earth, to the sky. So, number one, this has nothing to do with it directly with our halacha, but are you allowed to open and close this on Shabbos? So are you making roof? It's called bonnet, that's building. You're covering up your sukkah with a tarp. You are covering up and making a roof to your sukkah, an additional roof, because the schach itself is see-through. Right now you're making it covering up completely. Rain is not going to go in. So are you allowed to make a roof on Shabbos? And this is a temporary roof, because your intention is to open it when needed, close it when needed. So it's a temporary roof. Are you allowed to make it a temporary roof? We're going to learn extensively about it, and the answer is, as long as there's one handbreadth open before Shabbos, so it's an extension of a temporary roof, which is permissible. You're not making one to begin with, but once there's a handbreadth, it's considered already a partial roof. And therefore, just an extension to a roof where you're allowed to do. And the same thing is also when you're closing it, make sure that there's still going to be a handbreadth that's still going to be covering in order not to take away the roof. So one handbreadth is the ingredient that as long as there's one handbreadth, you could extend it. And when you're closing it, you leave one handbreadth still intact, that you did not take away completely the roof or put on a new roof to begin with. But my question over here, how does it fit into what we're speaking about? What's my topic that I'm trying to think about? The covering of the roof. Again, it was a rain. And what happened? With the rain, it collected on top of the roof.
Yeah.
Now when you're going to open it up, the water is going to now flow off the sukkah, and where is it going to land? So we have two situations. One situation is where you make your sukkah in the yard, where all around there is growth, grass. So what happens when you take off your tarp? What's going to happen to the water that's there? It's going to go on the grass. Can you do so? So you're watering the grass. Again, there are circumstances where you could, but we're not going to go into that. We're just going to think about the general idea is that you cannot water the grass. So what could you do? So now let's take that's such a situation. Now we have where the sukkah was built on a cement floor, but the cement floor leads into your garden. So now you're going to open up your tarp, the water is going to run down, it's going to go on your cement floor. From the cement floor, it's going to run along the floor and then go into your garden. Is that permitted? Okay, number one is, we said, someone mentioned it before, what's the first thing? You have to think about our intention. Do you want to water your garden? If the answer is yes, then you can't do it. If the answer is no, now we have something that is permissible, because your intention is not to water the garden, and you're not doing it directly. The water is going onto the cement. So what you're doing, your initial act is a permissible act. From the roof, from the tarp, onto the cement, that was permissible. What happens later is not your intention, and that you're not getting any benefit from this because you do not want to water your garden. So if it does go from your cement floor into your garden, that is not a transgression. You are permitted. So you are permitted to remove that, to take the water from the sukkah top, have it run onto the cement, and from the cement, wherever it goes, that is not your concern. The same would also be where people who have, now let's speak about all year round. There's people who have outdoor furniture on their porches. Here in Crown Heights, we also have such a thing as porches. And under the porch, there is a garden, if people planted a garden. So again, now you have it rained. Your outdoor chairs, the ones that have the seat, collected water. You want to sit down, are you allowed to tip the chair? So are you allowed to pick up the chair and do it over the garden? No, even if your intention is not to water your garden, still, the fact that you're doing it directly cannot be done. But you do have a cement porch, the floor is cement. Are you allowed to tip the chair onto the cement floor? From the floor, it's going to run along until it goes to the garden, that would be permissible. And then we have the sprinklers. So so if it's done on, so let's say if you have a hose, you have the hoses that have holes in them. You have the lining and it just waters things instead of spritzing all around. You just have these hoses. So if you put it on Friday, there is no issue because it's the same way as you're lighting candles on Friday, the same way as you're putting a pot for your chant on the stove on Friday, since it's being done on Friday. So this is a permissible thing. You're allowed to let it go the whole time. Are you allowed to close it? So again, that's not a malacha. Closing the faucet is not a malacha. You're unwatering. Unwatering is not a malacha. Watering is a malacha. Unwatering is not a malacha. So you're allowed to close it, unless there are a lot of different faucets that are open to the water. When closing one, put some pressure on the other, and immediately everything else starts to spritz very strongly. That you cannot do. But if it's only one faucet, closing it is not going to make a change to any other faucets. Anything else is going to be watering, so that would be done. What about a sprinkler? So at one time, before there were timers, it looked like you were watering your grass on Shabbos. Someone would be walking by, they're walking to shul, and they're getting wet from their religious neighbor who put on the sprinkler, and people would think, people who are not familiar with this would think that a religious Jew is allowed to water his garden on Shabbos because we see our neighbor, 8 o'clock in the morning, the sprinkler was not on 7 o'clock, but 8 o'clock it is on. It's probably you're allowed to do that on Shabbos. So here we have Malis Ayin, that it is people might come to the wrong conclusions. However, in a place that everyone has timers, so then that's there are those who feel that it's not the Shabbos spirit, who will not do that. I think that it's not the Shabbos spirit. You have your, the sprinklers on, and you go. I think it's more of a weekday type of activity. I would suggest that when you're making the timer, have it on Shabbos. It shouldn't work. Usually, you have a 7-day timer. Many places have their restrictions, which days of the week you could water your garden, you can't water your garden. But anyway, so these are the timers that have. So in Shabbos, I would suggest not to have that. We covered pretty much this chapter. Let's see if there's anything that we're speaking about. Okay. Any questions on this? Okay. So now next chapter is plowing. And plowing, what is the purpose of plowing?
it's to prepare the ground for
That's
growth,
right, we're preparing it.
for planting.
In particular, the act of plowing, what does it actually do? How does it help? How does it help in planting? How does plowing help in planting? What is its purpose behind the plowing? What do we want to do? Any thought? Why would one dig up the ground? Why, did anyone plant anything? Anyone do any planting? No, okay, so anyway, what you want to do is you want to loosen the ground. If you don't plow, you put the seeds on top. Chances are it's very few are going to take root. Some will, some won't. But if the ground is loosened, the seed will go into the ground. Then the chances of taking root are very good. So without plowing, it's going to be flat and hard. We'll put the seeds on top. How much percent will grow? Very small percent. You loosen it, you plow it, now the seed goes in. What they usually do is after that, they will cover it up. A second time, they'll plow a second time, earth will come up and it'll cover it up, whatever you put in the ground. So usually they would plow twice, once to loosen the ground and one time to cover the ground. So that would be, right now, everything's done by a machine that does all the steps at one time. So the idea is to loosen the ground in order to promote, to have planting. And so let's look at some of the things on page 85. Digging in the ground. So if you're going to, digging would be if you are going to put in a sapling, a young tree, that you need, so that you're going to plow the whole field, you'll just dig up around it where you're going to put the plant, or you have a potted plant, you're taking it out from the potted plant, putting it into the earth. So you just dig up, make a little hole, put it in, and then cover it up. Digging with the tool. Now, anything that is going to prepare the ground for planting would be included, page 86. That would be fertilizing, clearing the field of stones and anything else that's there, leveling the ground. So again, if you're going to be plowing, you don't want the ground to begin with be hills up and down. You want it to be in a straight row. Everything that's going to grow, it's going to be easier then to do the harvesting. So to begin with, you're going to have a level ground. So if there are hills and mounds and holes, you're going to fill in the holes and take away the mounds. So you'll have a level field in order to be able to plant. So leveling the ground is also this malacha of plowing. Also, when you put in seeds, you want the seeds to have all the nourishment from the ground. You don't want other plants to take away that nourishment, which are called weeds. So pulling out all the weeds from the area they're going to plant, that would be a part of plowing, because you're preparing the ground by taking away the weeds. So this would be some of the same thing, also being watering the ground before you're going to plant, make the earth moist, so the seeds will take root. All of this is even before there's any seeds in the ground. If you're doing it to prepare the ground for planting, this is all the malach of choresh, which is plowing. Is everyone familiar with plowing is? Okay. Now, let's think of some rabbinic prohibitions. They are concerned that you will level the ground, and that would be sweeping the ground or a house. So now we have sweeping. Now, you have two situations where you're sweeping the outdoors, and some places used to have houses that were not tiled or paved or cemented. They had earthen floors. At one time, in our class here, we had girls coming from the Soviet Union, and they knew of places in their town that did not have paved floors. They still had earthen floors. So you have those who came from the Soviet Union, who came here to Crown Heights. So they lived in Bukhara, I guess it's Samarkand. They had the old city and the new city. The old city did not have any paved ground. You had to every Friday, you put out new sand, you would sweep out the old sand, put in the new sand, so it'll be fresh for Shabbos. So in those places, so if you sweep the floor, you're doing it because you want to level. Everyone's been walking around, the whole place became bumpy. And so sweeping their house indoors would be called bona, building, making a floor. If it's outdoors, it's leveling the ground, which is a part of our malacha, which is plowing, preparing the ground to straighten it. So even if you're not going to be planting, but the fact that you're straightening the ground, that itself is a prohibition. So even though your intention is to make it nice, but leveling it, but sweeping it is with a hard bristle broom is like straightening the ground. You cannot do so. So therefore, to sweep outdoors on the ground goes into this category. One cannot do so, even though you're not going to be planting with the rabbinics, but it is straightening the ground. So rabbinically, it became forbidden. Same thing for indoors. If you do have an earthen floor, sweeping indoors is also forbidden because you're leveling the ground, you're building.
Sorry, earthen floors, what materials?
What?
Earthen floors, what materials?
Oh, it's earth. It's sand.
Oh, sand.
Sand. Yeah. Packed earth with sand on top. The sand is what you sweep away. Packed earth is there. Now, there's also, does anyone familiar with the straw brooms? Brooms that are made of straw?
Like they're like yellow.
Yeah, the yellow brooms.
Yeah.
People still use it?
Yeah.
At one time, that was the broom. And if you're vigorous and you sweep it, for sure you're going to have some of the bristles of the broom are going to break. So you're taking a broom and you are going to be breaking the broom down and destroying the broom. So such brooms cannot be used on Shabbos because you are destroying a vessel. The broom is a vessel, destroying the vessel by breaking the bristles. Now, also, so what kind of broom could we use on Shabbos? First of all, you're allowed to use a broom on Shabbos. Are you allowed to sweep on Shabbos?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, with your intention, why are you sweeping?
To make it nice.
Okay, you want it to be nice. So if you're going to be sweeping at the end of Shabbos, so you don't have to sweep after Shabbos,
Right.
so that cannot be done because you're not doing it for Shabbos, you're doing it for after Shabbos. But if you're doing it on Shabbos, you want the house to be nice, that is fine. Now, what happens if there are, as you're sweeping, there are also muktzah items that are on the floor from the bones and things of that sort that fell down. So once a bone does not have any meat on it, then it's muktzah. So now you have bones on the floor, you have shells on the floor. You were peeling your eggs, and there's shells on the floor. Are you allowed to sweep them up?
Yes.
Yes. Even though they themselves are muktzah, you cannot handle them, but getting rid of them because you want your house to be nice for Shabbos could be done. So you could put it into
So bones are muktzah, so what should you do once? Oh, so it's fine to throw it away because you want to get rid of it.
Okay, so now you have as follows. As long as there's something in the plate that's still edible, so you're allowed to carry away the plate because you're not carrying exclusively the muktzah, you're carrying it with something that is permissible. So that would be the first thing. We'll speak about when it comes about muktzah, we'll speak about other situations. But again, if something is disgusting to you, you're allowed to remove it. So even though might be muktzah, but the fact the same we were speaking about, you don't want your floor to be full of all this trash, so you're allowed to sweep it up. It's disgusting to you, you're allowed to. The Rabbanan did not took away their prohibition of handling these type of things because you do want to, something that you want to get rid of and it is disgusting to you. So that could be done. So again, so we could use a soft broom could be used. And that itself would not, the soft bristles, they're not tough enough to be able to move any earth. So it's not an issue of using something that could be used outdoors. Indoors, it's not going to be used outdoors because it's not going to do anything outdoors. So the soft bristle broom is fine. It doesn't come apart. Everything is fine, so you could use that. Now, dragging furniture on the ground So now it matters how heavy it is. If it's a place that could be planted, so dragging something that's very, very heavy. So let's say we have this chair, and it has these two sharp edges to it. It would be very, very heavy. Let's say it's a bench, not a chair. If you're going to be picking it up like this and then dragging it along, what would you get after you come to point A to point B? What will you see?
Like a trail.
There's going to be a trail that's going to be digging into the ground. It's the same thing as a plow. That's what the plow does. It's digging up the ground, loosening the ground. So in that case, you could not drag it. You have to lift it up. Get two people to lift it. It's a very heavy bench. If, however, it's not definitely going to happen, maybe yes, maybe no, you don't know for sure, and your intention is not to make these furrows in the ground, then you are permitted to drag. So this chair, let's say, the ground is very, very firm, and this chair is not that heavy. You think if I were to go with this chair, would definitely make furrows or not? What do you think? If you think definitely yes, then you cannot do it. But if it's going to go to some places that were softer, in other words, it depends on how hard the ground is. Those places that are very hard, it's not going to do anything. Those places that are softer, it is going to do. But you're looking at the ground as a whole, and it is hard, therefore you are permitted to schlep this along. Places that will have furrows, there's no transgression. Your intention is not to prepare the ground for planting. You're not going to be planting there. If it's not your intention, if it's not definitely going to happen, then you are permitted to do so. Even if at the end there was some places that got marks and them, trails and them, there's nothing on your part because it's not your intention, and it's not definitely going to happen. And it matters how heavy.
The chair.
How heavy the chair is. That's our belt.
What if the ground is soft, but the chair is heavy? But the chair is it's like a plastic.
It matters what your results will be. If it's a loose sand, then that doesn't count. Loose sand is everything's going to fall in itself. Nothing is going to remain. Not if you're like the beach sand, where it's all very, very loose. So pulling anything there would be fine because nothing is going to last. It's not going to. Everything is just going to close and by itself. Now we'll finish up with our baby carriage. Okay, is there an issue with pushing a baby carriage around in an enclosed area? It's earth, and it's soft earth. It's not sand. It's earth. When you're going to go across, you're going to get this trail of your baby carriage wheels. You're going to definitely see a baby carriage was pulled across. Is it permissible on Shabbos?
It might be.
Yes, no?
No.
Wait, yes, no? Again, we're putting a baby carriage, you're going to get the wheel marks as you go to the other side. Yes, no?
No.
Okay, why yes?
I think it's different types of trails. Like the one from the chair, that resembles like using I don't know what.
A plow.
Yes, but a stroller, it just kind of stays on the.
And what is it doing? So now again, let's go back to the principle. Why were we plowing to begin with? What did we want to do? We wanted to soften the ground.
Yeah.
When we go across with a baby carriage, what is it going to do? So now, when I'm dragging the chair across, what does it do to the earth?
It loosens the ground.
It loosens the ground. When I'm going with a baby carriage, what does it do?
It does.
With this,
I don't think
I said,
so.
this is going to loosen the ground. So we dig into it and it loosens the ground. We're not going to do this. This is sharp at the
Right.
bottom,
Yeah.
loosens the ground. And we're never going to go across with a baby carriage.
I don't think we will.
What will it do?
That's why.
I'm asking you, what do you think a baby carriage is doing? Let's take a wheelchair. Let's take a wheelchair where this guy is 200 pounds. 200 pounds. The guy is sitting in a wheelchair, and he's being pulled across on a soft earth that's going to definitely, this trail.
It loosens the ground.
I mean,
It loosens the
that's,
ground?
yeah.
Huh? What's it doing? Loosening the ground? If you want to,
So we
let me ask you now another question. After the baby carriage went across, can you plant there?
No,
Because
because you use the ground.
the ground is hard.
Right.
It has, but that's the reason, that is what carriage does. It puts on pressure, and you are compressing the earth by each time the baby carriage is going across, it's compressing the earth, compressing the earth. A wheelchair is going across, it's compressing, even though it's going sinking down, but it's compressing it. If you want to plant it, you can't plant, because you have to then dig it up again, because it is firm earth. So therefore, you are permitted to push the baby carriage across a place that's enclosed, where it's not a question of carrying, think about enclosed area. So there, it's not an issue of plowing, because we're doing the opposite, we're unplowing.
Wow.
We're hardening the earth, and therefore that is permissible.
Right.
Okay? Now my question would be, are you allowed to sit down on the chair in the garden? Literally, that's what you're trying to figure out. Okay, now we have this chair. We take it out the backyard, we have the earth. Could we put the chair down and then sit on it?
Yeah, because you're compressing the earth.
Then what happens when you pull? What happens when I lift it up?
There are marks there.
When we're gonna get there.
Holes.
Holes, I know. What happens if you want to plant a sapling? What do?
Yeah.
Make a hole. Okay, so
Oh.
is this making a hole? Not making a hole, trying to figure it out. Oh, the same thing is also you're going to be walking with high heels. Is that an issue? You're walking with your sneakers that has something on it. You know, it says Nike on the bottom, and you're walking on earth, and then when you come back, you see you have
But it's with.
the Nike. You think, these are all questions I'm asking for next time. I'm not
How about-
answering them now. Figure it out. These are all questions. Figure it out. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Does anyone want to take this?
Yes.
Okay, whoever wants to take it, please. This one
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, let's put it in the cup.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yes, we need it.
A little simcha here.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Let me see again. Shalamis, Shalamis, and Ellison.
Yes.
Right, here we go. And Petar. Here. Okay, Petar. Hannah.
Hello.
Okay. Zisel Khan is the same? The
She's
same?
not coming now, she's in the other class.
Oh, okay, Zisel Khan, okay, but that's all Khan and Zisel Khan, it's not the same person, okay.
You say that the stroller and flat.
Plowing is loosening the ground, the stroller is compressing the ground. Even after you went with the stroller, if you wanted to put seeds inside, it would not grow. So you put the seeds, what you would have to do is then loosen it again, and then put the seeds. But the stroller will give it, prevents it. It's the opposite of unplowing. That's fine.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Hello.